Morphy v. Botcher. 82. Game date. BQ2 is by far preferable. 83. Game date. Still less justifiable than in the previous game where this move occurs at an earlier stage. By the transposition of moves the position has become almost identical with that of the preceding one, the sole difference being that Black's king has moved into the corner, which practically amounts to the loss of an additional move. The art will not be of the slightest use at B2 and will have to be removed again. KD-B2 was by far better. 84. Game date. With some remote aim at a king's side attack by PK-KD3, but certainly not as solid as our K-square with the view of bearing ultimately on White's weak center piece. The R, as will be seen, is subsequently much in the way of Black's king, and the mating positions which arise are chiefly due to the bad selection of the post for the R at this juncture. 85. Game date. The waiting move of some utility as it provides against any diversion on the queen's side by PQ-KD4. But we believe in the main it would have been preferable to proceed with the king's side attack at once by R63 or else to play KD-Q5, followed by PXB in reply to BX-KD, with the superior game, as White gets rid of his weak center P and otherwise holds the better position. 86. Game date. Bad for various reasons. In the first place, he ought not to allow a P of his own to be placed in front of the adverse weak KP, which thus becomes less accessible. Next, the hostile B at KD3 prevents the sortie of the opponent's rooks on the king's side, which becomes fatal to him in a few moves. The KD ought to have retreated and would have been undoubtedly better placed at BZ, whence he could challenge the adverse KD by KD-Q square eventually. 87. Game date. White, though playing 8 games simultaneously blindfolded, has entirely outgeneraled his present strong opponent, for his attack is now quite irresistible. 88. Game date. No doubt an error, but there was really nothing to be done. If 21.BK square, the game might have proceeded. 22 RRs, 22 PK-KD3, 23 Q-KD4, 23 PXB, 24 RXB chapter, 24 KXR, 25 QR3 chapter, 25 KKD3, 26 PXB chapter, 26 K62, 27 QRs chapter, and makes next move. 89. Game date. Threatening RXB chapter followed by QR's mate. 90. Game date. Win the piece by force, for here threatens mate by Q or RXB chapter. 91. Game date. A lovely continuation, especially considering how severely White is handicapped by his performance. 92. Game date. The mate is forced after 27 PKD3, by 28 RR3 chapter, 28 KKD4, 29 RKD3 chapter, 29 KR4, 30 QR7 mate. The contest between Messrs. Steinitz and TSCHIGORIN. It would be an unfair disparagement of the reputation of our celebrated antagonist in the contest treated in the following pages, if we were to offer any apology for introducing the series of games played between the author and Mr. Tskagorin at Havana II the beginning of the year 1889. But we may state that the games of the last championship match between Messrs. Steinitz and Zucker toward played at New York, St. Louis, and New Orleans in 1886 were published shortly after the conclusion of the contest in separate collections by two rival German authors and by two different publishers. The author, therefore, felt justified in entertaining the expectation that the edition of the game of the latest contest for the championship with our own analytical comments would form an attractive feature of this volume, more especially as the play of the two opponents represents two different schools, which in many respects are almost antagonistic in the respective styles and in their leading views about the general conduct of the game. On this subject we reserve some further remarks, and proceed to give a brief history of th. inauguration of the contest, which we believe will not be out of place. In the early part of 1888 Mr. Steinitz visited Havana, in consequence of an invitation from the hospitable chess club of that city to give some chess exhibitions and to PLA matches and off-hand games against the Cuban champion, Judge Galtmayo, the Mexican champion, Señor Vázquez, Consul General of Mexico, Señor Escarvajal, Port Said, and other prominent players. The members of the Havana Chess Club, who are most enthusiastic and liberal patrons of the game, made on this occasion the offer to Mr. Steinitz provide the stakes and to defray all the expenses of a match for the championship of the world to be held under the auspices of that society against any opponent whom the victor would accept. Mr. Steinitz accepted the handsome offer on condition that the contest should consist of a limited number of games, as he could not be sure whether various engagements would allow him to stay at Havana for an indefinite time, which would have been necessary in case many draws occurred. He selected for his opponent the Russian master, Mr. Tskagorin, with whom he had played on two previous occasions. The first time in the Vienna International Tournament of 1882 Mr. Steinitz had tied FO first and second prizes with Herr Weinoder, while Mr. Tskagorin did not secure a prize, but in the personal encounter with Mr. Steinitz each won a game. On the second occasion in the London International Tournament of 1883, the two players came close together, for Mr. Steinitz won the second prize and Mr. Tskagorin the fourth, but the latter won both games in the personal encounter between the two players. Mr. Tskagorin was already universally recognized as a first-class master, but more especially on account of his style being characterized by the rarest dash and brilliancy of combination, i.e. the conduct of the king's side attack, as well as by exactitude of calculations in the end. His selection for the championship contest was warmly approved of by most connoisseurs, and the choice of Mr. Steinitz has been since fully verified by the fact that Mr. Tskagorin tied for chief honors with Herr Max Weiss of Vienna among 20 competitors in the Grand International Tournament of the 6th American Chess Congress held in New York in the spring of 1889. Steinitz TSCHIGORI Games 163. The preliminaries were easily and most amicably settled between the two players by correspondence. It was arranged that the contest should be limited to 20 games including draws, and that the winner of the majority should be declared the victor. The stakes were fixed at a minimum of $600, but were afterward increased by liberal subscriptions of the members of the Havana Chess Club to very nearly double that sum. The Havana Chess Club also provided for each player fees of $250, free passages from and to New York, and prizes of $20 for the winner of each game and $10 for the loser. In case of draws, each player was to receive $10. In other respects, the rules of the championship match between Messrs. Steinitz and Zucker played in 1886 were adopted, and it will hardly be necessary to repeat those rules, excepting to state that the time limit was fixed at 15 moves per hour. The contest duly commenced on January 2, 1889 at Havana, but was brought to a close on the 24th of February. Mr. Tskagorin obtained the lead over his opponent by one game 3 times during the contest, namely after the first, the third and the seventh game. Mr. Steinitz scored one ahead after the fifth game and then again after the ninth. He then kept the lead up to the end of the contest, at the finish of the ith game, which resulted in a draw. As the score stood at that time, Steinitz 10, Tskagorin 6, the additional draw made Steinitz the victor of the contest, for only 3 more games remained to be played and Mr. Tskagorin was bound to be one game minus even if he won them all. It was then arranged that the last 3 games should be played in consultation between Mr. Steinitz and Dr. Gathvillan on the one side, against Mr. Tskagorin and Senior Ponce on the other side. The result was that each party scored a game and one was drawn. It was, however, distinctly stipulated that the Tskagorin party should have the move twice, though it would have been the turn of Mr. Steinitz to have the first move if the main contest had proceeded, in order to test further the new defense adopted throughout the contest by Mr. Steinitz. On the other hand, it was also agreed that the Steinitz party should again play the Zucker toward opening for the purpose of giving the opponents an opportunity of trying the new line of play. First-class masters, when engaged in such serious contests, generally select for the attack and the defense such openings as in their own respective opinions will yield them the best prospects of success, and then persist in adopting the same line of play unless they become convinced of its unsoundness. Messrs. Steinitz and Tskagorin pursued the same plan in their series of games, and consequently only the Evans Gambit and the irregular debut Arcade Kilobytes 3, which is sometimes named the Zucker toward opening, were played throughout the contest with the exception of the third game, in which Mr. Tskagorin opened with the Ruy Lopez. But we wish to make some special remarks on the new defense adopted by the author in the Evans Gambit, as it affords striking examples of the application of, and the selection between, some of the different maxims laid down in our chapter on the modern school and the principles of play. It may be said of the evens * gambit that it puts the modern theories to a crucial test, for a pawn is given up on the extreme queen's wing for a remote attack in the center and against the adverse king. For the ending, the defense ought to have a winning superiority, as MS being a pawn the head is also greatly strengthened by his having the majority of pawns far away from the hostile king, which invariably has to castle on the king's side early in this opening. But the chief difficulty for the defense is the formation of white's two center pawns at Q4 and K4, and the powerful ranges which the latter's two bishops obtained against black's king's side after castling, more especially that of white's QB at QKD2. It was chiefly with the view of obviating those difficulties that the author after the I5 teach Tinus TSCHIGORD endgames moves IPK4, IPK4, to KKD63, to QKD63, 3BB4, 3B64, for PQKD4, for BXKDP, 5 page 63, 5BR4, 600, introduced the move 6. Q63 and we now propose the following continuation, 7PQ4, 7KDR3 in the games of the contest the author played 7. KKDK2, which on further analytical examination we find to be much inferior to the move no circumflex accent proposed. There are now several lines of attack, but anyhow the most interesting is the one based on Mr. Tskugorn's ideas applied in actual play against the other defense 7. KKDK2 namely, 8PQ5, 8KDK2, 9QR4, 9BKD3, BKKDs, 10QQ3, then KDR3, 10PQB3, 12QRQ square. At this juncture black has to take the choice between retarding his development for a long time or allowing the holes compare PXXXI, chapter on the relative value of pieces, etc. to be formed in the center. As will be seen, the two holes are more dangerous to his game than the block that white will create. If, for instance, 12. P kilobytes 3, 13 px 13 qx 14 kdkds, 14 pxb or 14 b64, 15 bk3, etc. or 14 b62, 15 bq5, 15 qkd3, 16 bk3, 16 qr4, 17 kdq6 chapter, 17 kb square, 18 qx, 18 bx, 19 bx, etc. 15 kdxkp, 15 qb4, 16 kdq6 chapter, 16 kb square, 17 kdxb not the tempting 17 qxqp on account of 17. Q63, 17. Qxkkd, 18 kdxb and wins. The defense has therefore to resort to the line of play that actually occurred in the contest in a similar position and the game would continue 1 to qkd square, 13 bxqkd, 13 kxb, 14 pq6 chapter, 14 kb square, 15 qkd4. This is no doubt much superior to 15 kdx to which black would reply 15. B64. And now black's pieces are certainly shut out uncomfortably for the present, but our theory is that white's QP being too far advanced will require the protection of queen and rook for some time, and if black's king can only be guarded against any attacking surprises the defense sought gradually to obtain the best of the game with the majority of pawns on the queen's side and the two bishops. For that purpose we would advise even to give up the pawn gained and to proceed with 15. BQ square at once, if only for the reason that if 1-5, page 63 white might have some good sacrificing opportunity. Ties by 16 kr square, 16 bq square, 17 kdx, and if 17 px kd, 18 page 64. However, after 15. BQ square, 16 kdx, 16 pqr4 not 16. PQKD4, on account of the rejoinder kdxbp, etc. 17 qkd2 if 17 q65, 17 qr2, and after the exchange of queens black has the superior game with 3 combined pawns available for advance on the queen's side, as against 2 separated ones of the opponent. Besides that, white's qp will be weak. 17 pqkd4, and we believe that black ought to be able to extricate himself with the superior game. In reference to the irregular Zucker toward opening which was invariably adopted by the author in this contest, we may state that we had never previously tried this debut in actual play. But we essayed it on this occasion for the purpose of testing our theory as regards the inadvisability of beginning a night early in the opening, especially the KKD compared page XXX against that of Mr. Tuscagoran, who was evidently not of the same opinion. For in the celebrated match by telegraph and correspondence which was won by St. Petersburg against London in 1888, and in which Mr. Tuscagoran was the left for the Russian side, Black St. Petersburg in one of the two games of the match, tapped the move by KKD 63, I, PQ for, to PQ for, answered 2. BKD 5. It was natural to be expected that the Russian master would try the same experiment against DH author, and we believe that not alone our actual score in this opening, but also the most stringent analytical examination of the play on both sides will now verify our view. 2. BKD 5 ought to place the defense at a disadvantage. The fact that Black W, enabled to double the KDT, in no way militated against White's game, and on the contrary, at this early stage, before the exchange of queens, it strengthened White's center for the attack, which was greatly supported by the combination of two bishops. Steinitz Schickelksel AMKs 165. White had obtained in the opening some very interesting situations favorable to lively king's side attacks, occurred for White, notably in the fourth, the 8 and the low games. In consequence of the Russian master having early attempted to convert the debut, which is of a close character, into an open game. In that connection we consider it due to mention with special gratification and thanks that a prize of 300 francs, offered by His Serene Highness Prince Dadian of Mingrelia for the game of the contest which he would adjudicate as the most brilliant, was awarded to the author for the 8 game. It may also be fairly claimed that the result of the contest affords a strong confirmation, greater than the correctness of our modern theories in general. For Mr. Tuscagoran is undoubtedly one of the most skilled and ingenious experts in the king's side attack that ever lived, and naturally, therefore, shows in his style a marked preference for the aims and J&Cs of the old school. We have already explained our own views on that subject as far as possible within the scope of this treatise, and we may only add that in the games of this contest, as well as in previous ones against other great masters, we have always tried to conform with those ideas to the best of our ability for the time, and as much as was practicable under peculiar conditions of match play, such as pressure of time limit or the difficulty of calculation in original positions in which the judgment could not be assisted by previous experience. We now submit to our readers the game's circumflex accent with our own annotations, revised and amended from the International Chess Magazine. I-66 Steinitz TSCHIGORIN Games. Game 1. Heaven's Gambit. White, MTSCHIGORIN. Black, W. Steinitz. Page K4 LPK4 KKDB3. QBB4 BB4. B3. PB3. NOG_PB3. KKDK2. KDKD5 to OKDQSQ. 3. PX 12. 13. 14. 15. Q for 5 BXB KDXB PXKD OOQ KDB3 KKDK square. Court K4 Q KD3 BB2. Greater than QB3. RK square. BQ2 KDB5 8. 19. 20. Docs. PXB KDXB. KDXB LCD QB3. PXKD RKQ. RQSQ. QPQ ASD asterisk 1 11. Game 1 Condid. RXKTORR8CH. NQXR. 12KR4. QB6QK3QQ8 Chapter. K1KD233. 34O underscored by Chapter. 35OB3 Chapter. KKDSG. 13ODPR 5. PXP 14. OQ circumflex accent X question mark IOOQR8. QKD4. QR8 Chapter. In BKDSQ. WQ equals NTJJ vertical line QR3 Chapter 44 KKDSQ. QB8 Chapter. For OKR2 in 4B in QK_6CH. 15-16 4 Opus B3 KB3 49 PQ KD for PK KD 4 OUQ KD to CH. Circumflex accent 5 equals 52 _ dip KD's Q KDS CH. 06 K KDSQ. Page KD 517. QK 6 CH. ROOQ _QB 2 CH. RPK KD for ODP KD 3. 58 Q BSQ chapter. R for 1 resigns. Asterisk see diagram page 168. Game 2. Irregular opening. White, W. Steinitz. Black, MTSCHIGORIN. KKDB3. Poet BKDI KDJVBBR for JQQ318 asterisk QB square 19 QB for RD. See page K37 KDB3. P kilobytes 3 KKDB3. BKD3 QQUSG. 20 PB. UKT K2 RBSG. LLKD0 to KKDR for FIP kilobytes for page KKD4 21 3. 10 KDB3 page KR3. KBPXB22. 23 BXKD. IQ KDXB _10 BK2 PXB PK4 page Q5 19. 20 Q _ Q to BB3 to LRQSQ. RR. 25. 26. PXBQ 027 PQ6 DF 28 Q _K3 29 Q KD3 flu. KDXB. Game 2 counted. BKD4 30 KD3. 33. 34. 35. RB8CH. K _B2 RB7 chapter. KB3 KRB5 chapter. KK3 KRE7 RXQTS KDPR XK KDPR XK KDP PKR4 RXQRP _RX KD. High C diagram page 168. Ben Encho. Arcady. RR6. Resigns. ST.INITZTSCHIGORIN Games. 167. Skagorin v. Steinitz. 1. Game I see our remarks on this move in the introduction of this series of games. 2. Game I. Apparently strong, but not as good as the line of play subsequently adopted by Mr. Skagorin, this 8 QBKKD dollars, 8 QUS, 9 PQS. 3. Game I. We think the best plan is now to simplify matters by 8 PKR3, 9 KDX 9 RB square, 10 KDXKP, 10 KDXKD, UPXKD, UQX and both pawns are even. We much prefer black's. Game as white's QBP is weak and his QKD has little scope for action. 4. Game I. If UPKS, then QQBs, 12 QKDRs, 12 KD64, 13 KD63, 13 KDKS, with an excellent game. B. Game I. Black gives up the P gained in order to break up the adverse center and in the hope of gaining material after castling. However, the bad position of his QKD is a drawback to his game. 6. Game I. This premature attack is fully neutralized by the opponent's very clever play. PQB3 at once was much better. 7. Game I. Defending everything indirectly. Of course black dare not take both knights on account of the ultimate RK square. 8. Game I. We believe that QQR4 instead was much stronger and would have made it very difficult for black to release his pieces. 9. Game I. The weak move which gets black into trouble. He could still retain some advantage with hopes of winning by 25s greater than X, 26QX, 26 KDR4, etc. Low. Game I. An excellent rejoinder which gives white anyhow some attacking initiative. See diagram. Page 166. Lean. Game I. An extraordinary blunder. Black overlooked that the check that R8 was guarded by the Q27RR for 28BX, 28 RKD4, 29 BB2, 29 Q63 left black still with a good game in which he could easily effect a draw almost at any time. 12. Game I. Not a good move. Q to either B square instead, followed by PKR3, and KR2 would have soon secured white's king against all danger of being hunted by checks, and would have given freedom to white's Q and B to operate in conjunction with the pawns on the king's side. L3. Game I. At this stage the game was adjourned, and Mr. Tskogoran sealed the move in a text. L for game I. If 38qxq, 38px. Chapter 39kx, 39 xq, followed by p kilobytes 3 and pkkd3 drawing. Easily. L5. Game I feeble. If anything could be hoped for, pqkd4 presented the best chance of offering resistance. 16. Game I an excellent move which shuts out the adverse q and prepares white's attacking advance of pawns. 17. Game I white's attack is now obviously irresistible. The latter part of the game has been played by Mr. Tskogoran with consummate mastery. Steinitz v. Tskogoran. Game 2. In a correspondence match between London and St. Petersburg, the former party played here pkkd4, which is inferior to the move in the text. Game 2. Best. If for p cubies, 5q chaos, 5kkd63, 6p kilobytes 4, 6p kr3 or 6. qkdq2, 7pkkd4, 7kdxkd, 8bpxkd, 8bxp, 9qkkd3 and wins 7pkkd4 with the superior game. Game 2. White is still ahead in the development with one minor piece, albeit his retreats of kd and q. Game 2. White has now we believe some advantage in position. N. Game 2. A grave error. Black evidently speculated on White's replying rpxb*, whereupon the replied kdxbp would win. Continued on page IBG. 160 Steinitz TSCIIGRI games. Game note. I. Move 27. QK5. Page 166. Black W Stein 1 TZ. Game number 2. Move 24. PQ6. Page 166. Black MTSCHIGRIN. White MTSCHIGRIN. White W Steinitz. Game number 3. Move 76. BB square. Page 166. Black W Steinitz. Circumflex accent. Game number 4. Move 16. KD5. Page 170. Black MTSCHIGRIN. White MTSCHIGRIN. White W Steinitz. SIL.INITZTSCHIGRINGAMIS 169. Continued throw and page IDF. Game 2. If 16 QKDXQKD, the replied 17 KDXKD wins a piece, for after 17 KDXQ, 18 KDXQ, Black's B remains attacked. Game 2. Simply QXP was much stronger. He now becomes exposed to a strong attack in turn. Game 2. Perhaps good enough, but probably 21 KD63, 21 BKD dollars, 22 PK4, 22 BXKD, 23 RXB, would have won with less difficulty. Game 2. Black may now win the QP, but will lose another with the much inferior game. Game 2. Disastrous. But he could not hold out for long by adopting the other alternative 23. QXP, 24 QXQ, 24 RXQ, 25 P kilobytes for it 25 B63, 26 PXP, and Black dare not take either with the KD or the B, as White after exchanging would ultimately gain the piece by RBA chapter. Game 2. Decisive. See diagram, page 168. Game 2. Some bystanders afterward thought that 24 KDR5, threatening KD7CH, would have turned the game in Black's favor, and no doubt it gives the defense a strong counter-attack in all variations, excepting against the ingenious reply 25 KB square. Pointed ONT by Senor Lopez T5. The probable continuation, 25 KDB6, 26 PXB, 26 QXQ chapter, or 26 QXKDP, 27 PXKR chapter, 27 RXR, 28 QQ5 chapter, 28 KR square, 29 RR square, etc. 27 RXQ, 27 RXR chapter, 28 KK to greater than N wins. Game 2. White wins without much effort. Tskogoran v. Steinitz. 31. Game 3. It would have been better to wait with this move until white played kdq5, and took capital first. 32. Game 3. The more defensive qk2 was probably better. 33. Game 3. Threatening kdxdp. 34. Game 3. Black could have won the queen here temporarily for only 2 minor pieces, but his game would have been so much disorganized as to become indefensible, e.g., 17bx 17pxb, 18bxb, 18bxb if 19kdxb, 19q 20kr2, 20bxb and wins 19kd65, 20qx if 20kr2, 20qr4 and though white may now capture the kd, and afterward take the r with the b, black will be able to make a better fight than in the line of play we propose. 20pxq, 21bxr, 21qxb, 22kdxb, threatening kdk6, 22, kdkd3, 23kdxr, followed by rq2 and doubling rooks with an easily won game. 35. Game 3. An error which costs the exchange. Black might have obtained a defensible game by 20qxq, 21bxq if 21pxq, 21bxkd, 22pxb, 22kdxb and should win 21. 1. pb3 not 21bxkd, for as Mr. Tskagoran rightly points out white would then obtain the advantage by 22pxb, 22kdxb, 23rqb square, etc. 22bxkd, 22pxkd, 23bq5, 23bqb3, etc. 36. Game 3. We believe $PR was better, as white had then the option of advancing the rp further and trying to get up and attack against the adverse qrp, or else he could exchange pawns at a convenient time and open the qr file for his r. 37. Game 3. If pkkd for white would have answered pkr4, followed soon by rkr square after removing the king. 38. Game 3. White plays with consummate mastery. 39. Game 3. There was nothing better. If pkd for ch, white after retreating the k would have played rk square, followed by withdrawing the other r and rk6. Black's r could not then oppose that k square on account of the rejoinder rxkd chapter 40. Game 3. Loss of time. The king had to make his exit on the queen's side later on, and it was much better to enter on that retreat at once. 41. Game 3. A profound move. White perceives the exigencies of the position with an acumen that hardly finds its equal in any ending previously played over the board. It is impossible to enter in. Continued on page F5. Steinitz TSCHIGO are end games. Game 3. Ruiz Lopez. White, M. Tskagoran. Black, W. Steinitz. JPK4 IPK4 NKKDB3 QKDB3. BQ to PX0 7 KDB3 underscore KKDK2. PBKKD's opus circumflex accent B3 KOOPQB for chapter 1 UKRSQ. QKDKD5. LLKDQBSQ. 14. QK square 30 to QRQ square dot 33 QBKKD5 BK to QKDQ square. Circumflex accent BKR4. B tilde W circumflex accent I. 10 QQB3 1 QBQB4 10 BKSQ. Joe circumflex accent asterisk for BK to 30 for QQ5. 35. N. BXKD. QXQ BXQ CUDXQ BP. 26 PXB. Page QKD3. Game 3 const. Then KRQSQ. Then KKD to 36 QR for QB to 37. 33. 35. KB3. Page KR3. 39. RK5 chapter. OOKBSQ. 40 OOKK2 RKS chapter for lip. Q2. Chapter. IRPKD3 40 B tilde circumflex accent 41. KKD2 42. 49 BK6 BQB4 BQSCH. KD kilobytes for BQB4 chapter. BQKDs KR2 43. UUB underscore Q3 chapter. KKD2 underscore slash RKD5 chapter. KBSQ. WKDKD6CH. See diagram page 168. Game 3 Condid. KB2 page underscore R5 RKR644. KKD2. RQB6 chapter. KKD2. R square 64 KB square. B underscore QSQR KR245 KDKSR KK6 flash KDQB4 NNQRKR3 B kilobytes 3 RKR7 square 79 RKDCD7 slash KKDSQ I7QRB3 746 slash or underscore Q3 joule circumflex accent underscore D circumflex accent NF circumflex accent 7 slash or 07 48 RB3 KKD 7 quartz question mark I underscore slash orcs 49 PXRUK Esquire R1 circumflex accent 55 O KDB for R underscore B6CH 0K KDSQ then NR tilde RAU resigns 50 FC diagram page 168 game for irregular opening white W Steinitz black M Skagoran KKD kilobytes 3 Steinitz TSCHIGORIN games 171 see scene to muddy from page an extensive analysis, and we can only point out that if white had stuck to his KDP and given up the QKDP for it, black could well give up ultimately the B for the advancing P, but would in the meanwhile direct the attack with R and KD against white's sole remaining QRP with almost a certain draw and even some prospects of winning. 42. Game 3. Of course if RX B white would answer RX KD chapter. 43. Game 3. The maneuver that follows shuts up white's R for some time, but it is not satisfactory in the end. Black had more chance of a draw by 54 RB, chapter 55 KR3, 55 BQ3, 56 RB, 2, 56 R64 if 56 RXR, 57 R63 chapter, etc. 57 R63 chapter, 57 664, and we believe black ought to obtain a draw by a series of checks, or would win the KDP, which would, of course, also secure a draw at least. 44. Game 3 a beautiful move which compels black ultimately to abandon his attack against the king as he is bound to protect his RP with his B. 45. Game 3. The cooperation of his art with the other is now secured in a few moves, and white is bound to win, especially as he holds black's king tight in the last row. 46. Game 3. At this stage the game was adjourned till next day, white having sealed the move in the text. 47. Game 3. See diagram page 168. White threatens to bring the BKD2, followed by RQRE. 48. Game 3. The only correct answer. If RKD7 chapter, black plays kilobytes square, followed by KDB2, which shuts out the R and must ultimately win the exchange by KKD square. 49. Game 3. The rest tells its own tale. 50. Game 3. For if KD2, white answers Steinitz v. Skagoran. 51. Game 4. We consider this not alone quite sound, but probably the best answer against black's early sally with the QB, which is premature and altogether unadvisable on general principles, as this piece is much wanted for the protection of the Q side in this opening. 52. Game 4. The P cannot well be taken as it cannot be defended, and white obtains, therefore, a strong center. If, for instance, for PX 5PK3, 5PQKD4 or 5PK4, 6BX 6QQ3, 7 X with an excellent game. Compare second consultation game, page 190 for 56PQR4, 6PQB3, 7PX 7PX 8PQKD3 with much the best of the game. 53. Game 4. Injudicious, as white gains much time in forming his center by his reply. PXB was the only correct answer. 54. Game 4. Under the circumstances QKR4 was no doubt much better. 55. Game 4. Mr. Skagoran informs us that this was a result of a miscalculation. He had foreseen all the subsequent moves on both sides up to white's I4th, but he had overlooked in his forecast that white's KR would then remain defended by the Q. 56. Game 4. Of course, if PXB at once, black replies QXR followed by KD67 chapter 57. Game 4. IF11. PXB, 12BXB, 12QK4, 13PXB, 13 page kilobytes 4, 14 RR5, 14 Q underscore K3 or 14. PQKD4, 15 KDXB, 15 PXB, if 15. KDXKD, 16, 663 and wins, 16 663, 16 KDXBCH, 17 QXKD and wins. 58. Game 4. BETTR then 13 KK to 13 KDQS chapter 14 KB square 14 QXBI 5 KDXB or 15 KDKD5 exclamation point 5 QKD6 I6BQB3 I6QXQCH I7RXQ I7KDK3 and black with 2 pawns for the piece may make a long fight after the exchange of queens, whereas the play in the text ensures white an irresistible attack against the adverse king, albeit black has 3 pawns for the exchange. 59. Game for if 16. QR7, 17 QB4, 17 RQ2, 18 RQB square, 18 page QB3, 19 KDQ6 chapter and wins. Continued on page 173. 172 Steinitz TSCHIGRI and games. Game number 5. Move 21. RQ3. Page 170. Black W Steinitz. Game number 6. Move 35. BXP. Page 174. Black MTSCHIGRIN. VM///////S7 / white MTSCHIGRIN. White W Steinitz. Game number 7. Move 31. KDXP. Page 174. Black W Steinitz. Game number 8. Move 33. RXP. Page 174. Black MTSCHIGRIN. White MTSCHIGRIN. White W Steinitz. Steinitz TSCHIGRIN games. 173. Continued from page if 60. Game 4. The following fine termination might have occurred in reply to 18 PQB3, namely, 19 QB kilobytes 4, 19 RQ2 or 19 KDRs, 20 RXB chapter, 20 PXR, 21 KDXB chapter and wins 20 QK8 chapter, 20 RQ square, 21 KDXB chapter, 21 QXKD, 22 RXB chapter, and makes into more moves. 61. Game 4. White threatens mate in 3 moves, and there is no defense excepting RQ2, which, of course, is as much as abandoning the game. Skagorn v. Steinitz. 62 Game 5. This is forced. For if 8 QK to J, 9 BXKD, 9 KDXB or 9 KDXB, 10 KDXB and wins 10 PQ5 with a fine ace. 63. Game 5. Black might have kept the superiority of pawns by exchanging QP, but obviously white would then have forced a center similar to the one usually obtained in other variations of this open thing, and all the stronger in the present situation, as black's Q was badly placed. The move in the text releases the defense. 64. Game 5. Preventing the development of the adverse QP, but only for a little time. 65. Game 5. White's position was already much inferior. If, for instance, 18 BK to black could institute a vehement attack by the answer 18. PQ for the move in the text was, however, the fearful error which caused a clear piece. 66. Game 5. Black could also answer 18 QBXRP, and if 19 KR2, e.g. KBX, win easily, but of course the play actually adopted is more than sufficient. 67. Game 5. If Q or BX, white could still hope for some attack by the reply R kilobytes square, followed by KD5, 68. Game 5. See diagram page 172. 69. Game 5. If 21. QXKP, 22BXB chapter, and obviously black dare not take the beat on account of the winning rejoinder KD5 chapter 70. Game 5. Desperate, but white's game was beyond recovery. 71. Game 5. Black had sufficient forces to win, even after 26 kilobytes 5, 27 dollars chapter, 27 KR. Square. If 27 KB square, white might still harass him by 28 KD square 28 KD 67 chapter, 28 QX. KD, 29 QXQ, 29 kilobytes square, with 3 pieces for the Q and an irresistible attack. But of course the move in the text was the simplest and surest. Steinitz v. Skaboren. 72. Game 6. This is not as good as PK3. 73. Game 6. The counter gambit which already occurs in similar positions in the games between Laberdernes and McDonnell. 74. Game 6. Black wisely refrains from castling on the queen's side, as his king is wanted on the other wing for the protection of the KP. 75. Game 6. The lost move, as the sequel shows. 76. Game 6. If IIPX 11 KD 12 BX 12 KKDXBP, 13 RXBP, 13 KDXKP, 14 RXKD if 14 RXBP, 14 BX with a strong attack 14 KDXB, 15 K62, 15 KRKKD square, 16 PKD3, 16 BQS, 17 B63, 17 BXB, 18 KXB best, 4F. KDXBF he replied RQ7 chapter is fatal. 18. KDK4 and black, though the P behind, has an irresistible attack. 77. Game 6. This leads to a general exchange of minor pieces which releases black from the greatest part of his difficulties, whereas kilobytes 63 instead would have kept the attack well in hand. If black answers 16 castles, then white could well proceed with 17 KDXB, 17 RPX KD, 17 PK6, with a strong attack. 78. Game 6. 111 conceived. K62 was far better. Continued on page 175. 170 for Steinitz TSCHIGORIN games. Game 6. The regular opening. White, W. Steinitz. Black, MTSCHIGORIN. KKDB3. LP underscore Q for OPQ for KD5QB for KDPXB. Page K472 page K473 PXB KXQQ KDB3 NPB4 ORQ square chapter. QBQ 270 for OBB4. 10 RKDSG. 75 KKDK to BXB 76 KB square. BKDs KDB3. 15 asterisk KD kilobytes 6 KDXB 77 Game 6 counted. Game 7. Heaven's Gambit. White, M. Skaboren. Black, W. Steinitz. K4 KKDB3 to asterisk circumflex accent 1 QKDB3. LB4. Page QKD4. Castles. QB3P for KKDK.2 QBKD500 QQ3PQ50 KDQ square. INQ circumflex accent 1 UBKD3 KDR386. LLR KD3. Kilobytes 3. B387. FIPQ 6 chapter. 1 OK Esquire. 88. RXR chapter. Love. PTO 4 underscore PR 480 LPKR 389. KXRPXB9 OK KQ to 78 QR kilobytes 582 Fin QRQ square 91 92 93. 22. TKD3. Then KB 580 for KDB2. PXRK K2 RKKD square. R7 chapter. PR 6 BR4. The KD2 QKDQ for asterisk FIQ KD3 then NQ KD4. Page B4. Float P underscore KD4. 35. PR VXB 85D asterisk KDB5 chapter. EPNP KDX KDP 95 UUR underscore R3. PXBHARR 6CH. to E circumflex accent Q for 27. PR 8Q PKD 8Q 25. KD square. QX KDP. RQ KD5 3Q QBSCH. Then N resigns. PR 5. Game 8. Irregular opening. White. W. Stemets. Black. M. Skagoran. KKDB3 KDB3 NPQ for NPQB4 page K3Q KDB3 KDQ to Astles Castles QPK for PXKP Lutetium KDX KDBX KD page underscore KR3 102 equals 2 underscore LLRKSQ 101 RKSQ I circumflex accent Q underscore B310 to BQ to underscore LJKD Esquire BB3 15 IPS BKD square 1 RPQ 5 IUQ underscore QSQ 104 1 POK B3 2840 PQKD4 Game 8 Conft RK2 Lya KRQ KDGQ LLL RKD2 112 JB3 on circumflex accent 105 QR to be 65 106 PQR 3 2 GR low 7 N NQK KD4 circumflex accent PXBPBR 233 KD65 RX BX KKSQ PXKD at KDK3 and RQ tilde K for U OKD Esquire RQB for chapter OKDK 0 page underscore KKD4 and RBKD6CH OK Esquire 114 underscore R to be 5CH KDB5 UUFLRR for U1 asterisk resigns. Asterisk C diagram page 172. TC diagram page 172. RMB KDL 98/0. UK KD square 109 QQ page Q7 UIQ KD3 U resigns. TC diagram page 172. Steinitz TSCIIGRI games 175. Continued from page IJ.J. 79. Game 6. A grave error. As pointed out by Samir Vasquez, he could at least draw by 25 kilobytes. Square. 25 KDK4. 26 R65. 26 RK6 chapter. Best if 36 KQ3. 27 RXKD and wins. Or if 26 KDKDSCH. 27 KB3. 27 KD62, 28 PKS and wins 27 KK to 27 RXB, 28 by Xgate and White ought to draw at least 80. Game 6. The march of this Pete is well timed and goes the shortest road to victory. 81. Game 6. Excellent play, as it blocks at the art from his most commanding file and leaves black the option of several winning attacks. 82. Game 6. There was hardly anything better, for if RKKD5 black would have answered RKKD 6, and if then the R moved to kilobytes 5, black would capture the KP checking and wins with ease. 83. Game 6. As will be seen, black has calculated to the end with great exactitude in order to counteract the last resource which white is trying to adopt. 84. Game 6. Just as bad was KK5. As black would also exchange rooks and ultimately his queen would check that R7 winning the adverse queen. Again, if K60 for black would proceed in a similar way as actually played, and would ultimately win by QQ for chapter and exchanging queens by Q. KD for chapter. 85. Game 6. A forlorn hope. But, of course, white had no other resource. See diagram, page 172. Skagoran v. Steinitz. 86. Game 7. If NKD-KD3, 12Q-KD-KD5, 12QB square, 13BKS, 13PQB3, 14BXB, 14PXKD, 15BX with a much superior game. 87. Game 7. Black is a piece ahead, but his game is fearfully cramped. PQ3 was obviously worse as white would exchange pawns followed by RK square chapter. 88. Game 7. An excellent move which establishes communication of the Q with the king's side and gives WT height a powerful attack on that wing. 89. Game 7. This is the only reply, we believe, to counteract the threatened QKR4. 90. Game 7. If KDXB White would answer QXKP with the superior game. 91. Game 7. Splendid play. The R exercises a powerful influence on that square for the ending. Of course, if KDXB Black would answer Q64 effectively. 92. Game 7. If QKD3 White would exchange queens followed by PK6 with an irresistible attack. 93. Game 7. White we believe missed here the opportunity of obtaining the victory by 21 PK6, 21 KDXB, 22 BXKD, 22 BPXB, 23 KDK5 followed by RQ3 with an irresistible attack. 94. Game 7. Feeble. KDK3 was now the best defense. 95. Game 7. This piece is now entirely thrown away. He ought to have still played 23 KDK3, and if 24 BB2, 20 for PKR4, 25 QKD3, 25 PRs, 26 QKD4, 26 QR4 with good hopes of extricating himself and winning with the majority of pawns. 96. Game 7. There was hardly any good defense. If 26 KDKS, 27 KDXKDCH. 27 DKXKD 528 KDK7, 28 RR2, 29 KR square 29 BQ square, 30 KDXB, 30 RXKD, 31 page 64, 31 KRB2, 32 PB5, 32 RXB, 33 RXR, 33 PXR, 34 RKilobytes square, with an irresistible attack. 97. Game 7. Beautiful play. See diagram page 172. 98. Game 7. The chapter of White's KD at B6 is obviously fatal to Black's game. If, for instance, 34 BQ2, 35 KD B6 chapter, 35 KQ square, 36 KD KD8, 36 RR square, 37 RB8 chapter, 37 BK square, 38 PQ7 and wins. Again if 34 BQ square, White mates elegantly by 35 PQ7 chapter, 35 BX 36 KDQ6 chapter, 36 KK2, 37 R67 mate. Steinitz v. Skagoran. 99. Game 8. With the intention of keeping the QP twice defended and in order to make the KB avail. Continued on page 177. 176 Steinitz TSCHIGRI games. Game number 9. Move 52 RQ8. Page 178. Black W Steinitz. Game number 10. Move 25. RX80. Page 178. Black MTSCHIGRIN. TDRSSSS. White MTSCHIGRIN. White W Steinitz. Game note. II. Move 13. QRKD square. Page 178. Black W Steinitz. Game number 12. Move 57. RX80. Page 182. Black MTSCHIGRIN. W. White MTSCHIGRIN. White W Steinitz. Steinitz TSCHIGRIN games. 177. Continued F front page 175. Cable later on for an advance. But we doubt the advisability of this plan which keeps the black pieces shut up for a long time. 100. Game 8. With the view of advancing PK4 which he could not do at once as White after exchanging would ultimately win the P by BXRP chapter followed by QR's chapter. 101. Game 8. Again he can greater than push the KP on account of the rejoinder QQ3. 102. Game 8. A bad POST for the Q and perhaps PQB4 was his best resource at present. 103. Game 8. By this maneuver White blocks out two of the adverse pieces, but probably KDK.5 would have led to a more speedy and successful direct king's side attack, for it Black took the KD White could retake with the P followed by RK3 and RKKD3. 104. Game 8. More promising for the defense was probably 16 PK4, 17, Q6, 176 KD5, 18 BK4, 18 KDQ2, 19 PKD4, 19 PQR4, 105, Game 8. Necessary for it PQR4 at once. White would reply QQ4 followed PXKDP. 106. Game 8. But White could now easily hold command of the position on both wings by PK4 threatening PKD5. If Black drove back this B by page 64, then the formidable entrance of White's Q at Q4 after retreating the kilobytes would win. 107. White here overrates his attack on King's side, for as will be seen the entrance of the KD at KD6 which he speculated upon would hardly yield him any advantage. 108. Game 8. White had to change his intended tactics. If 23 KD6, 23 BX, 24 KDX KD, 24 KX KD, 25 QR, 25 BK3, 26 BKD6, 26 BKD square, 27 QR8, 27 QQ2, and merely at the cost of the exchange for which Black has already won P. He blocks out the adverse queen from the game. 109. Game 8. Obviously White had here a draw by repetition of moves, for if he now played QK4 Black was bound to answer KDB square or KD4, as he had to guard against the chapter of the Q, whereupon White could again attack the B by Q64 chapter, and compel the KD to interpose. 110. Game 8. Better than BXR, whereupon by the reply BXB chapter, Black gains a second P for the exchange and will also afterward exchange B for KD, which will make it very difficult for White to win. 111. Game 8. Probably his best plan was BXRP in order to fight out the battle with his passed pawns on the queen's side, which we believe would have given him a fair prospect of drawing. 12. Game 8. Necessary for it B65 at once. Black would reply Q KD6. Though White apparently loses time, as he has to go back again with his R to his former place, he in reality gains an important move, as in the meanwhile he compels the Black King to come out to B2. 11-13. Game 8. Various moves were suggested here afterward for the defense, but all were found on examination of no avail. If for instance, 31 BXRP, 32 QBX, 32 Q84, this seems best, for if PXBBR retakes, followed by QRK square 33 QKD4 and wins equally, for if 33 PXB, 34 QKD6 chapter, etc. 11-14. Game 8. Of course nothing could save his game. If 35 KD square, 36 QXB, 36 QR2 or RKD2, 37 BR7 chapter, 37 KB square, 38 BKD, mate. Skagorin v. Steinitz. Game 9. This is not a good move, for though Black ultimately wins the QBT against which he keeps the B directed, he exposes himself to a formidable attack. Game 9. The right play is here, 12BQ3 followed in reply to 12BX. By 13 RQKD square, as played by Skagorin in the NDN game. Game 9. A very ingenious resource under the circumstances, that Black is 2 pawns ahead, and White at any rate equalizes the material advantage by force. Any other line of play would have left Black with an easily winning superiority. Game 9. This, we believe, is the simplest and best plan. After 22 RX, 23 RKD, White will obtain a strong attack either by RQ square or RQKD square. Continued on page. Game 9. Heaven's Gambit. White, MTSCHIGORIN. Black, W. Steinitz. JPK4 LPK4 9KKDB3 QKDB3 QBB4 page QKD4 page QB3BR4. 6 castles. Q equals B7PQ for KKDK2. BKKDs. JFC's KDQ square. QR for 115 QKDR3 LLP underscore QR3. BKD3 116. QRB square. QKD5.QKDKD5 117. Circumflex accent QXQ10 PXQJNRX BQB4. QKDX 19. II 23. Page B3 BXKD. RX KD PKRQ KDSQ RXR 118 RKDSQ 119 BB3 RK square dot 120 RQRSQ RKD2 Steinitz TSCHIGORIN Games I Game 10 Game 11 Game 9 Condid 10 page KR3KQ3 KDQ2 QNP tilde B3 Oop Speedy 33 RR6 greater than KD square KK2 packet RR6 PX KDKDSG UUR underscore KKD6R KD underscore Q2 underscore KKD6 122 KD Esquire 123 41 BQ 4 KK3 124 RQR KDK3 126 RKKD5 KKD4 C Chapter JR underscore Q6 KDQB4 Chapter KXB underscore RQ 8125 D asterisk 127 K6 KD2 KB3 KB2 underscore ODR kilobytes 8 57 resigns 1C diagram page 176 Jergular opening White W Steinitz Black MTSCHIGORIN dot KKDPS B UQKDB3 128 dot page K3 for page K for RQKD3 129 BXKDNPXB KPXB 180 BPXB underscore slash KDK4 question mark X OKDQ2 KDB3 131 UQK2 chapter KDB3 132 BQKD5 1.133 Castles side 10 page underscore QR3 dot BR4 KRKDSG 10 page KKD3 134 1 RB circumflex accent R6 IDFE BKD3 18 19 21 KB3 KRKSG KQ to be kilobytes for 135 RQB square PQR3 QR4 BKKDs 136 KDKDSQ 13.7 23 KDK for RQKDSQ 138 KEE6CH dot RX KD DF Heaven's Gambit White MTSCHIGORIN Black W Steinitz PK4 KKDB3 BB43 equals page QKD4 page QB3 BR for castles QB3 1 KKDK2 BKKD5 of 7 circumflex accent QQ3 KDQ square Q tilde R for page underscore QR3 BQ3 140 IQQR dot KDSQL 42 glub KD2 143 dot KDB4 HRDs QB4 BK 16 BXPXQ KRQBSQL 45 BXP 146 KDXQP chapter KDXKD vertical lines are KD7 chapter tilde 147 5CH KQPK QXBPCH FID Q2 139 97 question mark circumflex accent resigns TC diagram page 176 then exclamation point equals question mark LFI slash R underscore B6 148 game 11 conftef BK4 chapter resigns $C diagram page 176 Steinitz TSCHIGORIN games 179 continued from page IF7 119 game 9 an excellent move which at any rate renders black's winning more difficult. If he allowed black time to institute a double attack with R and B against the QRP, his game was gone speedily. 120 game 9 if 25 KDQ2 25 RQ square 26 RKD2 26 BX etc. 121 game 9 black we believe could have here sooner forced a victory by 30. K64 for it 31 KDKB3 chapter 31 KKD5 32 KDQ for this chapter 32 K64 33 R62 chapter 33 KXKD 30 for RXB 30 for RX 35 R67 35 P kd5 and black will win by advancing his kdp and bringing his k up to qr8. 122. Game 9. Black has gained time by his maneuvering with the art for this important advance. 123. Game 9. Now, the only move, for it 41 kd square, 41 rq6, 42 kk2, 42 rk6, 43 kb, a, 43 pr5 etc. 184. Game 9. Very weak. Black could h1 with facility by k63, which would have secured 2 pawns plus. 125. Game 9. Not good. Kd5 which would have compelled black to retreat rr2 in order to maintain his p was by far better, and gave him good hopes of a draw. 126. Game 9 white's k is cut off, and black's passed p forces the victory. See diagram page 176. 127. Game 9. A little better was 53 rkd6 chapter, 53 kk4, 54 rx, but black would also soon win, even in that case, by first driving the adverse king further off with 54 rb8ch, and then advancing the p. Steinitz v. Skagoren. 128. Game 10. In the usual form of the Q's gambit into which this opening generally resolves itself, the present move is not considered favorable to the defense, but black adopted it, no doubt, with the view of attempting to break through on the fourth move. 129. Game 10. We think this is the strongest continuation, and the advantage of pawns which white gains more than compensates the breaking up of his center and the doubling of his pawns. ISO. Game 10. Obviously if 6. B kd5 chapter. White interposes the b, but it should be noticed that if 6 qpxbp, 7bx, 7qqq, white should reply simply 8px and not 8bx. Chapter, where upon after 8 qxb, 9qx, 9kq2, 10qxr, black obtains a strong attack by 10 qxbp followed by kd63 threatening bkd chapter. 131. Game 10. White might have won another p by qxkdp, but then after 9 qk to chapter 10 bk3 or 10 kq square, io arcade square, iiqxbp, iiq63 with a strong attack 10 qkd chapter, iiqxq, anti-xqch, 12 kd63, 12 kd63, black will recover one pawn and will at least prolong the fight. 132. Game IO. If 11 12 12 kd3, 13 q65 chapter and wins the BP, for should black interpose the art then follows kilobytes qkd5. 133. Game IO. If 12 13 pqr3, 13 qq3 or 13 qr4, 14 with an irresistible attack, 14 qrqb square followed by kdk4. 134. Game IO. 15 would have also given him a very bad game on account of 16 qbkr6, and if 16 kdk square, 17 qkbs, 17 okd63, 18 rxb chapter, 18 kdxr, 19 rkkd square, and 135. Game IO. Threatening bx, followed by kdxkdp double chapter. 136. Game IO. This is decisive whatever black might do. White had also the option here of winning to minor pieces for the art thus, 21 rxb chapter, 21 kxr, 22 bk5, 22 kdq2, 23 kdk4, 23 qkd3, 24 kdxkd, 24 kdxkd, 25 qb6, 25 qxq, 26 pxq, 26 rk square, 27 roj, followed by rk3 chapter and wins the kd. The play in the text is however stronger still. 137. Game IO. If QKDXD white may proceed with RXB chapter, and if KKDX, the answer BXB wins. Equally. VGA 138. Game IO. Nothing better, as white threatens KD65 chapter, and if then KK square he proceeds with QK4, whereas if the K move to Q square, black obviously loses the Q by KD7 chapter. Continued on page 18-1. Isochtinets TSCHIGORIN games. Game number 13. Move 41 RQ6. Page 182. Black W Chtinets. I millimeters. Game number 14. Move 25. PR3. Page 184. Black MTSCHIGORIN. White MTSCHIGORIN. White W Chtinets. Game number 15. Move 36 RQ6. Page 186. Black W Chtinets. Game number 16. Move 46. PB4 chapter. Page 190. Black MTSCHIGORIN. 1. H. Still. White MTSCHIGORIN. V. White W Chtinets. Chtinets TSC1 IIGOK1X Gam Ms 181. Continued from page 179. 139. Game 10. If 26 KDX KD, then of course 27 QK5 mate. And if 26 KB square, 27 QXR chapter, 27 KKD2, 28 KDR's chapter and wins, for if 28 PX KD, 29 RKD square chapter and mates next move. Skagorin v. Chtinets. 140. Game 1-1. Compare our notes to the 9th game of the contest up to this point where Skagorin here played BKD3. The move in the text is by far superior and in fact it wins. 141. Game 10. There seems to have been no other course open to black, as KD64 was always threatened.